My name is Leo Connors, and welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. And tonight, my guest is the metahuman supervillain, Insane Dick Lane. How are you?
Excellent, sir. How you doing?
Really, really good. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be back.
You know, this is your second appearance, and your first appearance got some really good numbers right out of the gate. So I'm hoping for the same thing,
That's
but
what I like
really,
to hear.
we're just gonna have fun talking. That's all. All right, let's get some fan questions. Grayson Flax, who's someone you have really good chemistry with in the ring that you never imagined you would?
Just recently, I came back to NCW, and I wrestled a guy called The Politician.
Yes!
And it was my first time encountering him. I had seen his work one other time. He came in at RWA and wrestled in a Rumble. And I was like, and I saw him wrestling, and I saw his character, and I saw his gimmick, and I was like, I need to work with that guy
Right.
immediately. And I was booked against him at NCW, and I started talking to him, and he was like, "Oh, this is like my 7th match," or something.
Right,
And
right.
I was like, "Oh, wow, this is great." So I went in there with him, even though he's kind of green. It was wonderful. His character was amazing. His character work was great. And I loved the match.
Yeah,
So-
he is really good. And I am a contributor to the Politician's campaign. I am. All right, Ryan Brown's got a couple questions. Which up-and-coming wrestler or wrestlers on the New England indie scene has surprised you with their growth inside the ring and on the mic cutting promos?
The first two that come to mind for me would be one, AJP, who I said this the last time I was here. I have known him since he was literally like a 12-year-old kid.
Right.
And I have seen him become what he is now.
Yeah.
And it amazes me more and more. The other one is Stephen Lust,
Yes.
who I started wrestling with, and I have wrestled with him so many times, and we're great friends. And I've seen him over the past few years since wrestling came back from the pandemic. He's been getting featured more, and winning championships and getting booked all over the place. And I'm really proud of him.
It's amazing. He was here a couple weeks ago, and he really is everything you just said. Since his tag team went kaput, he's been getting booked everywhere.
Yep.
Winning titles. And definitely very impressed. And he's from my hometown, Lowell. So, you can't go wrong with that.
Yep.
Ryan has one other question. Also, I hope I'm sorry, it's not a question. Also, I hope Baby Luna is doing well. Praying for her.
Yeah, that's been a huge challenge and been I can't even describe how much of an impact it's had on my life. It's really tough every day. She has a lot of health issues, but I'm just dealing with it with my head down the best I can every day.
Do you mind talking about it?
Yeah, I'll talk about it, yeah.
So I know she's, like you said, you had problems and stuff, but she looks like she's doing great.
She's doing great. She's developing slowly but surely. She was born 2 months early.
Yeah.
My spouse was in a car accident, and the airbag hit her stomach.
Wow.
So she had severe bleeding in her brain when she was born,
Yeah.
and she has seizures, and her development is very slow. But, like I said, I just try to take in all the good stuff and try to remember to stop and enjoy being alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Being a dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Is nothing like it in the world. Am I wrong?
Correct, yeah.
I'm a father of 3, so. Well, that's great. How old is she now? 2?
2, just turned 2, yeah.
Nice. Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Dan Ruckus wants to know, what makes Dick Lane the greatest meta villain in the game?
Because I'm the only one, I believe.
Villain, at least, because I
Yes.
think there's a couple of heroes out there.
Yeah, I kind of skirt the line. I'm a super villain, but I'm not a bad guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like that.
You're kind of like Ric Flair. You can go and be a babyface. You can go and be a heel.
Yeah.
Back in the day, at least. And I got to ask you this, might as well I brought him up. Ric Flair. one of the greatest of all time.
Yep.
But in my opinion, he should have been the greatest, but I think he hung around too long. What's
Yeah.
your opinion on that?
I actually enjoyed some of his latest stuff, especially like his TNA stuff
Yep.
with Jay Lethal
Oh, that
and stuff
was,
like that.
was really good. Yeah,
It was-
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say because obviously his in-ring work got worse and worse over
Yes.
time, but there was so many instances where it was like where he made the show so much better and
Right.
he was so entertaining. So I don't know. I'm in the middle.
I hear it, and he did have some great matches, but I mean, I just feel his last match against Shawn Michaels was just like
Yeah,
perfect.
amazing,
Perfect.
perfect. Yeah, it was the
You know?
perfect retirement match. Yes.
You know? All right. So Dan also wants to know, and I don't know what this means, so maybe you can tell me. What is MF Doom's top 3 greatest hits?
This is MF Doom right here. R.I.P. The greatest of all time. Huge influence over my personality and everything. He is a rapper and a beat maker. He passed away a few years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
But yeah, huge impact on my life. His top 3 for me would be Beef Rap, Batty Boys, and All Caps.
Nice.
There you go, Dan. There you go, Dan Rucker.
There you go. All right. I have no idea what that means, but it's all good. Maverick Y wants to know, how have you retired as many times as I have already? And Mav's a grizzled veteran.
He always has to get in these questions on my show
Yep.
to bust on me. But
Yep.
yeah, I didn't retire. I took some time away when my daughter
Right.
was born. I took some time away when she started to develop the spasms and seizures
Yep.
that she's having. But yeah, I mean, I was gone for about a year. I never said I was retired.
Okay.
I made sure not to say that. But yeah.
So Mav's jumping to conclusions over there. Thanks, Mav. All right. Well, how I kind of said there's meta heroes.
Yes.
I think this guy might be a meta-human superhero, the Mighty Bosch. And he wants to know, do you really think you're the only meta-human in indie wrestling?
You know, that kind of hurts Mighty Bosch because I've been on a team with Mighty Bosch. I thought we were cool, you know, supervillain, superhero working
Yeah.
together. But yeah, that's disrespectful because first of all, he copied my super suit. I was the only guy with the one-piece suit
Right.
for a long time. And now all of a sudden, oh, he gets his own super suit. He's kind of stealing all of my stuff.
Yeah.
But I forgive him.
All right. Well, you're a forgiving guy. Steven Oliveira wants to know, who's your favorite opponent?
I mean, obviously, he wants me to say him.
Yes, that's what I
And that
figured.
is true. He is one of my favorite
Yeah.
opponents. Like I said before, we came up and grew together in wrestling. Yeah, we've wrestled each other so many times, and each time it's gotten a little bit better, and it's been so fun. Some of my other favorites would be Derek Conway, who I think is underrated in
Yep.
the area.
I agree.
Sean Leader. Yeah.
Nice. 2 former guests. Dan Ruckus is back. Who would your ultimate standoff be with if you could fight any hero or villain from the comic books?
Ooh. I don't know if I could hold my own because my superpowers aren't as powerful as the MCU heroes. So I probably want to face somebody like, I don't know, Hawkeye, that is just a guy with a bow and arrow or something like that. Yeah.
So MC, that's Marvel Comics.
Yes, Marvel
Okay.
Comics, yeah.
And the other one is
DC.
DC, yes. All right. The politician wants to know, Star Trek or Star Wars?
Do you want me to answer this the long way?
Any way you want, honestly.
right.
If you like the topic, this is your show.
I will start off by saying the true nerd answer, which is apples and oranges. They're very different. Star Trek is science fiction and Star Wars is fantasy.
Yeah.
I love both of them, but since that is kind of a cop-out, I will say that Star Trek especially had a huge impact on me as a little boy,
Yep.
watching Star Trek The Next Generation
Yep.
and Deep Space Nine and Voyager. and there's so many seasons of all these shows,
Yeah.
and this is when seasons of shows were 20 something episodes instead of 6 episodes.
Yeah, 8.
And yeah, it just had a huge impact on me that, like logic and kindness
Right.
it will prevail.
And that's wild because I actually like the original Star Trek with Captain Kirk and Dr. Spock.
I'm less familiar with that stuff.
But I'm just saying it's kind of funny because I actually do like that show. Judge Logan Chambers, how have you not beaten anyone with something called Channel Fireball? This is an inside joke
It's
to
an
you and
inside
him,
joke.
huh?
Channel Fireball is a notorious old school Magic the Gathering combo in the card game.
Okay.
Where you can kill the person with just 2 cards. I should have named a move that, and that's a good idea, and I'm going to do that going forward if I create a new move. Thank you, Judge.
Nice. I think he's coming back in a little bit too. But Bobby Rossi wants to know, what does wrestling mean to you, Dick Lane?
Why does Bobby Rossi have to ask such deep, introspective
Because he's
questions?
that type of guy. He wants to know. He cares so much.
Wrestling to me is an art form that allows me to be a goof in front of people, and I enjoy the creative process of coming up with ways to entertain the fans and coming up with ways to improve my performance and in all of its aspects.
Yep.
And whether it be connecting with the crowd or the technical aspect or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, like music or theater or movies or anything like that. It's just, to me, it is just a way to emote in a way that's very special in the live setting where you can't, just each different type of media can portray the stories that it's telling in different ways and do things that the other ones can't do, and wrestling very much has that property to it.
Yes, absolutely. Great answer. Did you get what you're looking for out of it? What you were looking for out of wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, my goals were very, very low when I started. I just to be booked on any show was just a dream for me.
Right.
And I never aspired to even get to the things that I've already done already. So, yeah, I'm very happy with, what wrestling has been for me over the past 7-8 years that I've been doing it.
Nice. It's escape, right, of being who you really are.
Yeah, exactly that too. Yeah.
Which is really cool. All right, one more. Bobby Rossi. Has your outlook towards our pastime, sounds like he's talking about baseball. That's all I usually hear with pastime. Changed since starting back in 2013. Has your outlook towards our pastime changed since starting?
Yeah, I mean, before the pandemic and before my daughter, I was trying to expand myself out there and get booked in different places in different states and stuff like that, and sort of prove myself to people on the scene. And I do not have the ability to do that anymore. I have way too much on my plate personally in my life. But yeah, I'm still just going out there and trying to entertain the fans and be creative and come up with new, funny things or new cool moves and stuff like that.
That's awesome. All right, Steven Oliveira. What's your favorite Jeremy Bell memory? I never really met Jeremy, so I love hearing the stories.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, we spent a lot of time together almost every weekend for years. Every week at Brick House training, he was there. The memory that pops out was I used to do a video series like every month or every other month called Wackest Players in the Game, where I'd kind of go up to wrestlers backstage and bust on them and make fun of them and goof on them. And he was one of the first people I did it with.
Right.
And he just completely played along with it, and as if he knew what was going on, and it was just a funny moment. And I actually posted it the other day, thinking about it. And Yeah, he was just a very kind person. He was very easy to get along with, never got into any altercation with anybody, always great to work with in the ring. He was a great referee, and he was a good friend. So,
Nice.
yeah, it's very tough.
I wish I would have had the chance to meet him. All right, Todd Graham. Thoughts on the Dick Buster movie? I didn't know that there was a movie.
Yeah, we filmed a movie kind of telling the story of what was going on with us in Proving Ground at the time. We were filming it right after my daughter was born. She was still in the NICU. So a lot of my memory, when I try to think back about it, is very hazy
Right.
because I was like a zombie at that point. But yeah, it was very cool to try to be an actor. I have no acting experience.
Yeah.
I've never done anything like that. But it was very cool, and I got to experience, what trying to be an actor is.
Right.
And I kind of saw the kind of different creative ways that you could perform your line or perform or act or faces that you could make, and it was kind of a cool experience. Yeah. So I thank him for doing it, even though I was very stressed out at the time.
Well, Todd's a great guy, and you know something? This might be the longest time from him being on the show and not being on the show.
He likes to
It's been
talk.
like 5 or 6 months. I think he's due.
I mean, yeah. If you have him back, he'll continue to.
Oh
speak.
yeah, I love Todd, man. I don't even have to write down hardly anything when he's on the show.
He likes to talk.
Yes, great wrestling fan, Jerry Lane. Do you consider yourself more of a serious wrestler or a comedy character?
When I first started, I was just strictly comedy. But then I got the motivation to try to slowly become more of a serious wrestler and do more actual wrestling stuff. So I like to think I can do both, but definitely leaning more towards comedy, if I would be honest, yeah.
All right, so I didn't see anything of yours when you first started like this, right?
Yeah.
Now, you would do what, like a
Invisible
choke slam?
So basically, the entire match would be me doing gimmicks of I have superpowers,
Right.
And I outstrength the big giant guy, or things like that, or I use my mind to body
Right.
slam and choke slam, but and stuff like that. And I slowly moved away from that, especially in PG and Alkmania, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. What about NCW?
NCW, I'll still bust out some invisible moves
Yeah.
once in a while because JC loves that stuff.
Right.
I think he does.
Yeah,
Anyway.
John Casey, great guy. Leads right to him. Is it true you were 1 year old going to wrestling shows at the Norwood Elks? And you're 10 now, right?
Yeah, so that was one of the aspects of my gimmick was that the date, like I started wrestling, I said I was just created that day, and that I was actually 1 year old because I was just created in the laboratory.
Right. So you might even
that's
be
that.
younger than 10.
Yes, that's that joke. Yeah, about 10. About
10,
10 years,
yeah?
Yeah, about 10 years ago, I'd say. Yeah.
That's awesome. Judge Logan Chambers is back. Sonic Youth or Mother Love Bone?
Those are two deep grunge
Yes,
cuts.
I do know what those guys are. And I have a choice.
I don't really like either of them that
Really?
much, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mother Love Bone.
I think I would choose them too. I think Sonic Youth is a little too weird, and they're trying to be weird for the sake of being weird.
Right.
A little bit. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
All right. All right. Stephen Lambert. Who is your daddy and what does he do? I feel like this is another inside.
I'm trying to think of something clever to respond to. I'm a cop, you idiot. So it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger quote.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, against the kindergarten kids.
Yes.
To the kindergarten
Yes.
kids.
Who's
yes.
your daddy and what does he do? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And boys have penises and girls have vaginas.
Yeah. You can say that on this show?
Yeah, because we use the right terminology.
Okay.
We didn't, call it out.
Okay.
All right. Ryan Mellenfee, how did it feel when you first returned to, this is a great question, when you first returned to the ring after baby Luna was born?
My first match back was my first big match back. I did a few smaller things for some friends, but my first big match was PG. It was the Dick Busters versus the Dirt City Murder Crew, and it was 4-on-4 in a cage.
I think I might have been there.
Yeah, and that match felt magical to me. It felt like a really special moment. It was a really great match for me to come back, especially with the cage and weapons in the cage. And,
You must have got a huge pop too.
And all of us are wearing our
the
Ghostbuster suits.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really, really special match. And I was nervous. I was very nervous, but the match came out great, and I couldn't ask for a better return, honestly.
And that great, really, Ryan Drew says I say everybody's great, but I'll be honest, you had great guys in the ring with.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
They're amazing, yeah.
Big time. All right, Ryan has one more. Did you have any nerves going into this? Yes, you did. Of course you did.
I read that question ahead of time. I knew.
All right. So I've been trying to get away from wrestling for just a little bit in the shows.
Yeah.
What's your favorite TV show? Because I watch a lot of TV.
My favorite, well, like Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
A show called Venture Brothers was a huge impact on my whole gimmick. It's like it's a comic book
Yeah.
spoof type,
Cartoon type thing.
It spoofs like Johnny Quest and
Right.
comic books and all that type of stuff. Those two are probably my two favorite shows.
Okay. Now, what's your favorite band or singer, or you can give a couple if you want. You know.
Nirvana is the band that got me into music.
Yep.
Queens of the Stone Age is probably one of my favorites. Dinosaur Jr.
Yep.
Um,
Another band that's better than Sonic Youth.
yeah, of course. Let's just say that.
Okay. What song would surprise me that's in your playlist? And I'll just so you don't feel that bad, I have a Kelly Clarkson song in mind.
I've been listening to a lot of Gary Newman recently. I'm just getting into him and discovering him at 39 years old.
Yeah. Kaz.
Yep.
His best, well, my favorite.
So that's like a new weird thing I'm into. I listen to, Paramore once in a while. Yeah, that's about it, I would say.
Okay. What's your favorite movie franchise? I feel it. I know what it is.
I guess the MCU, just because there's so many, and it's really all I have watched for the past 20 years.
I had thought it was gonna be Star Wars.
I do like Star Wars.
Yeah.
The originals are like amazing. They're
Right.
classics. I do enjoy the prequels, and I really, really liked the first of these new ones.
Yep.
And but it kind of fell off after that. It got really strange and.
What did they do? Let me ask you, because I'm really not into it.
Yeah.
Okay, but like, did they do Star Wars like on people like a Jabba the Hutt?
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. I mean, did they do like an episode on him and then other people, or were they not like that? Do I have that wrong?
Yeah, you have that wrong.
Okay.
Actually, the shows on Disney Plus are great. There's a Mandalorian show, a Boba Fett show, Andor. I loved all of those shows. They just really dropped the ball on those last series of movies that came out a few years ago, in my opinion.
And that could do it for you know what I mean? A couple of bad movies.
There was a scene where the main character hands Luke Skywalker his lightsaber that he's been missing for 30 years, and he takes it and throws it into the ocean. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. All right, I hear. So let's talk about your return.
Okay.
Your return was a year ago?
About a year ago, yeah.
And where did you work? Like, your first show, was it PG?
Yes, yeah.
And then you worked for NCW also?
Just recently, I came back and did an appearance at NCW. The only two I've been doing are PG and RWA.
T Phoenix,
Yep.
IWA.
Yep.
Because that was the next promotion I was going to say.
Yep.
So you went back to them guys right away.
Yep.
And you've worked multiple shows by now.
Yes. Yep.
All right. But not the PG match, but on your first match back with RWA,
Yep.
who did you take on?
It was a tag match. It was me and Tom Billington against Mike Montero and Jamie Tucker. So again, the Dirt City Murder Crew.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I had great opponents.
Right.
And I had a great partner. So yeah, and that match was great too. My first 2 matches coming back were amazing.
That's awesome.
Yes.
All right, let's transition into like the name game. And like I told you earlier, I got about 100 names written down.
Okay.
But I'm going to just bring out guys I know you've been around.
Yes.
I don't think you've been around this guy a lot because he was out for a while too, but Frank Champion.
Frank Champion was one of the first people I wrestled. So when I in RWA, when I first started, one of the first things I did was a tag team with a wrestler named Just Alex.
Okay.
And the name of our team was Just Dick. And we wrestled the heavy hitters several times. And they really helped me early on when I was still trying to find my bearings, and
Right.
they kind of taught me a lot of things. And so, yeah, big props to Frank Champion and Shay.
That's a great team
Yes.
too, by the way. And Shay was next, but you just kind of mentioned him.
And they opened a training facility recently.
Yes.
So-
yes, and that's at
With the-
RNG.
Yes, NRG.
NRG, yep.
Yep.
And that's what Brickhouse is
Yep,
training down
Brickhouse,
there,
yep.
and Davey,
Davey
and
Cash and
Shay, and
Yep.
everybody else,
Pyro.
right, that shows up.
Yep.
That's awesome. Giving back. All right, how about speaking of Davey, the Hoods, Davey Cash and Chris Pyro.
Yeah. I mean, I was very scared of those guys because of their gimmick and
Right.
because they were featured on Beyond Wrestling and they were famous in the area.
Yep.
But they have been so friendly to me for the past 10 years. Even when I was just a little nerd boy just starting out, they were very nice and they were very interested in my gimmick and they thought it was funny. And they've taken me under their wing and helped
Nice.
me out a lot. So I love all those
Veterans.
guys.
I mean, Davey's been around a very long time.
When my baby was born, they reached out to me.
Right.
They gave me all types of gifts for my baby, all types of stuff.
Yeah.
They're wonderful people.
That is awesome. Great to hear. How about on Jamie Tucker?
So your first question that you asked me a while ago about who is the most improved, I take it all back. Sorry, AJP and Stephen Lust. Jamie Tucker has improved like 100-fold
Right.
in the past year or so. And it is amazing. And he is another person that he was in one of my first matches ever as well, too. I was a Monster Mac trainee, and I was wearing a mask to job out to some team.
Yeah.
And Jamie Tucker was another person that put a mask on and was on my team. And to see him, win championships at PG,
He just won
Yeah.
a championship there.
win tag team titles and stuff like that. He's amazing. It's amazing to see him now.
That's awesome. And Monster Mac, you're talking about, right?
Yes.
The mask dude.
Yes,
he has
yes.
a podcast. What's his podcast?
The Mac Attack, Monster Mac Show is what it's called. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Derek Simonetti.
This is a complicated question. I love Derek Simonetti very much. We do bump heads when it comes to what to do, and with me mostly, because I was very satisfied just being the goofball character that I am. Recently, he has kind of pushed me
Yep.
to be more serious, and my character is evolving and changing at PG and becoming more darker, and I've been tapping into the kind of negative emotions that I've been dealing with in my life
Yep.
For the past couple of years. And it's been challenging to try to do something different because I am just kind of a goofy person, and I am not like an angry person.
Yeah.
And it's been difficult to try to portray that. But I thank him for forcing me to take myself more seriously
Yeah.
and to change what I'm doing and try new things. But he's one of my best friends in the business. I can't thank him enough for all the opportunities and all the great matches that he's thrown my way.
He's got a great mind for the business.
Yes.
He really does.
Always has a vision with everything.
Right, with everybody probably too, because he's very creative. Sean Leder.
Sean Lee, I said this the last time. I've never become friends with somebody faster than with Sean Leder. Like the first time I met him, I was like, we just instantly meshed and started vibing. But yeah, I've tagged with him. I love all the tag matches we've had. I have wrestled him many times. I loved all our matches. And yeah, there's nobody more on the same page as me than Sean Leder when it comes to wrestling.
Right. All right, great. Steven Russo, I think, added a question in and I didn't write it down. I think it's something to do with how was your last match you had against him?
Against him?
Yeah. It might have been a tag, though. Could have been a tag.
We had an amazing series of matches during the pandemic.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. Sorry, Steve.
At the WAW building. Yes.
In Manchester.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was extremely impressed with him. We became great friends during the pandemic, traveling together.
Yeah.
He reads comic books, and we trade comic books back and forth with each other. Yeah, he's a great guy. I think that people need to take him more seriously.
Right.
And give him more of a shot in other places besides RWA.
Well, and you said be more serious, and now he's doing a tag team gimmick with Devin Baker as the Hillbillies.
Yes.
Which, but that's still good, though, too, because I'm a wrestling fan that loves gimmicks, characters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
And both of them are hilarious together.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll skip over Devin because you just kind of said something nice about him. How about David Baker?
I miss David Baker very much. Again, he is somebody that took me under his wing that I was very scared of when I first met him, but he's a lovely man. And he has been so supportive during the stuff with my daughter.
Right.
So supportive of me in wrestling. We had a tag team at one of the smaller promotions at the Chop Shop, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, he's one of my greatest friends that I met in wrestling. Yes.
Nice. All right. How about you can't bring them up without bringing up Coach, right? Brickhouse.
Yes. Brickhouse again.
They call him, right?
Teach. Yes.
Not Coach.
I haven't seen him in a few years now, just because I haven't been able to get out to the training, just because I have my plate full. But yeah, I miss him very much. He is one of the funnest people to be around, just in any situation, not even in a wrestling context. Just like being around him is so much fun. He is so entertaining, just in any situation that you can imagine. I love the guy, yeah.
All right, well, speaking of a guy like that, I'm just going to take a chance that you know Sweet Scott Ashworth.
Not well.
Okay.
I have been at shows with him.
Yeah.
And he is a character.
Yeah.
He's very old school. He calls his match in about 1 minute. He shows up to the building, knows exactly what he's doing, and he does it.
Yep.
And I have to give him props for that.
He's very, very, very entertaining. How about two people that just kind of came back? BMT and Ariel.
I'm not really super familiar with them or their work. I just recently kind of met them when they came back.
Right. They had been away for a few years, having lots of kids.
But yeah, I've seen their work and I thought it was great. So yeah.
I'm sure you guys will be running into each other quite a bit.
Hopefully I get to work with him soon.
Yes. How about Scott Levesque?
Oh man, I haven't, another guy I haven't worked with in many years. Yeah, he is a character as well. Yeah, I first wrestled him at NCW. And he was a person that was interested in working with me because of my wacky gimmick, and he wanted to see if what he could do with what I was doing at the time with the invisible moves, and he did all of that stuff with me, and I'm very grateful that he wanted to do all that goofy stuff with me, and he didn't hate on it. And again, he's a very nice man, very soft-spoken.
Yeah. But big man.
Yeah, he's
muscular,
a big.
dude.
When you look at him, he looks like a big, scary wrestler.
Yeah.
But when you talk to him, he's just very soft-spoken, very
Right.
quiet guy. Not much
See,
to
I
say.
I don't know Scott. I've never met him. You know?
Yeah.
But good-sized guy. And speaking of good-sized guys, how about a guy by the name of young guy, Johnny Pierce?
Johnny Pierce. Yes. Okay. So he has been making another. He's another guy making huge impact
Yeah.
everywhere, getting booked everywhere. He's a very huge guy.
Yeah, he is.
I've spoken to him a few times when he was like doing ring crew at NCW and stuff. And yeah, very nice guy. Very happy that he's getting booked, and very happy that he's being booked very strongly
Right.
for somebody his size.
Yeah. And fairly green, new, very new.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, how about Anthony Green?
Oh man.
Throw it off a little bit.
Yeah, he was somebody that has been in the scene since I started, and been a top name in the area since I started, and it was amazing to see him on television, and it's been amazing to see him come back since leaving
Right.
television. Yeah, I wrestled him at Live Prov. And it was probably one of the best matches I've ever had in my life.
Nice.
And it's probably one of the matches I'm most proud of in my life, yeah.
Was that at the beach?
It's in the Black Box, which is a tiny
Rhode Island.
box-shaped room
Right.
in Providence. And the crowd is not a wrestling crowd. The crowd is college kids
Yeah.
that don't watch wrestling.
Right.
And so they really bought into my super villain gimmick
yeah.
and stuff like that, and they were really behind me. And
That's
it was
awesome.
Yeah, I love that match, and I love him. He's a great guy.
That is awesome. All right, how about up and comers, the Miracle Generation, Dustin Waller and Kylon King?
I wrestled Dustin Waller a few months ago, and that was my best match I've had since I've come back. My best singles match since I came back. Yeah, it was an honor to be able to work with somebody like him.
He's blowing up.
Yeah, he's blowing up big.
He is blowing up.
And I'm very thankful to have had the opportunity to wrestle him. I also wrestled Ichiban in the same tournament.
Nice. How he was going to be brought up too.
And yeah, it was in a tournament setting, so we
Yeah.
had to wrestle a match and then quickly come up with another match and quickly come up with another match. So that was another aspect of it that was difficult. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about those two guys.
And they're both being booked everywhere.
Kylon, I haven't encountered yet.
Right. I've never met Kylon. I've seen Dustin at shows.
Yeah.
He was at a Wrestling Super Show, one of Ryan Drew's shows.
Mm-hmm.
All right, how about Harry Brooks?
He is my favorite. He is my favorite. Yeah. So when he first started, he was training with Brick House. I got the opportunity to wrestle him several times at RWA, and kind of give him the rub, and he gave me the rub.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was always very impressed with him from day one. He's another guy that's just a super nice guy, nothing bad to say. But yeah, our match that we had, one of the matches that we had is probably in my top 5 matches of all time.
Nice.
Just because, yeah, we did as much stuff as we could. The match was very
Right.
athletic, and it was probably one of my best, like, straight wrestling matches without goofy stuff involved.
Okay. I'm going to take a chance on this one. Nick Marchand.
Nick
Starting to make a name for himself a little bit.
Yes. So he was somebody that was training with me when I first started in JT Dunn's class. One of my first memories of that class was him drop kicking me in the eye and giving me a black eye. That was my first wrestling injury.
Yeah. That you must have loved having.
I loved having it. I will never forgive him for it.
Right?
No, but we've had amazing matches together. He is somebody that is so deceptively athletic. It is unreal. Like
Nice.
when you look at him, you don't see it. But
Yeah.
when you watch him wrestle, it is like amazing.
Right.
And I don't understand how he hasn't been seen by somebody and recognized for that.
Right.
He-
Well, like I said, he's definitely starting to make a little bit of a name for himself. He really is.
And he sells people's maneuvers better than he's like the Dolph Ziggler of the area. Like every time that he takes a
Right,
move,
right.
he's throwing himself into it 200%. And yeah, he's amazing to watch and amazing to work with. Yeah.
The age difference. You go Dolph Ziggler, and I immediately think Ricky Morton. You know what I mean? As one of the greatest sellers ever. All right, how about Robbie the Giant?
Robbie is another person that really helped me when I first started and was very kind to me when I first started. And I'll always respect him and always love him for it. We haven't worked too much. We've worked here and there together, but sorry.
That's all right. I didn't shut mine off either. I'm just lucky it hasn't gone off. I just thought of it.
Yeah, but he's a great guy and I love him and he's very entertaining.
Very entertaining.
And NCW runs shows in Bristol and he is like more over than everybody by 100 times.
Right.
The crowd loves him.
That's awesome. Now, I think, didn't he do a tag team with Doc Harris? I think you might have been away.
I might have been away.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And he,
I can
might as well
imagine-
say Doc Harris.
yeah, I wrestled him once and it was with very short notice. So the match wasn't quite what I wanted it to be, just because we had to call it, and I call matches very differently than he does. It's
Yeah, he's a veteran.
yeah, he's very much in the ring
Yeah.
kind of guy, and I'm a very playing every little
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
out
yeah.
because that's just the way that I was trained to wrestle.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that must have been fun, though, at least.
Yeah, it was fun, and he's a very nice guy, and he was very cool to let me call all these things and
Right.
try to remember it all and stuff like that. So he's yeah.
Well, seeing
I
you like
appreciate
to
it.
work for Proving Ground, I'm going to throw a couple names out there at you. Ryan Andrews.
He is Ryan Andrews. He likes Applebee's. He likes his mother. He likes the MCU. And no, but I'm just kind of busting on him.
Right.
I love Ryan Andrews. Yes.
Ryan's a good guy.
Yes.
And how about the commentator, if I'm not mistaken, Atlee Green?
I have to give huge props to Atlee. He helped me tremendously just by booking me higher and higher up the card at Elkmania.
Right.
He sort of recognized that I was somebody that the crowd was really digging into.
Yeah.
And he kept pushing me higher and up the card. And as he did that, I became more confident in myself that I could be somebody that was higher up on the card instead of just being comedy match
Right.
at the first match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I met Atlee probably 15 years ago and they didn't see him at all for 12 years. And then when I met Todd Graham and I went to a show and there was Atlee and I had them all on here.
Yeah, he used
I'm
to
like,
wrestle,
I haven't
right?
seen you in a decade, over a decade.
He had already retired by the time that I came along. So
Okay, so that's why I didn't
Yeah.
see him for over a decade. And he probably told me when he was sitting right there, but I don't remember nothing. It's the edibles. How about I bring up a couple other up and coming guys? Alec Price.
he's amazing. He does crazy things that
Yeah.
I could never dream of doing. Just the innovation of his finisher where he does that kick to the back of the head
Yeah.
and he floats in the air for a second.
Yeah.
It's just very, very cool. So I'm a fan of watching him wrestle, yes. I haven't really worked with him or spoke to him that much, but I love to see his wrestling.
It's amazing because he's proven how if you go to shows and help out, they'll use you. Like I was going to Beyond shows once a month, and every time I'd go, he'd be there helping. I just happened to be there the night him and CJ Cruz had a match. For the first, it was the spotlight match where they everybody goes on social media and goes live, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it was amazing, you know? And it went from that night, they booed the crap out of him. Like, I mean, with go away heat, honestly.
Yeah.
I went 3 weeks later, he was the most over guy in the
Yes.
hard work, you know? Absolutely. Okay, how about one other guy that's up and coming? BRG, Ryan Gosling.
He's somebody that I've been wrestling with since I started as well, back when he was wrestling under a different name that I can't recall right now.
I can't either right now, but I do know he had another name.
So to see what he's done with himself is also amazing. Completely renovated his entire gimmick and the whole perception of him. And he's another person getting booked everywhere and getting featured everywhere and winning titles everywhere.
Yep.
Where he was wrestling in, you know, the dingy places that I was wrestling in 10 years ago.
Yep.
And now to see him up there is great.
It's amazing. He really is working really hard. He's getting booked. I don't know. Like, I don't see him getting booked. I don't haven't noticed him being booked outside of New England. I know he's booked all over New England.
Yeah.
But that's the next step for him. Like how Alec is. He's booked in Texas, Florida, Indiana. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want Alec Price on your show, you better ask him now for a couple months down the line, or you got no shot of getting him.
Yeah.
All right. How about a big guy, Lumberjake?
Lumberjake. It's been a while since I've seen Lumberjake. He was booking at NCW for many years. So I've had the opportunity to work with him many times. He's a great booker. He's a great wrestler that knows his character, and he knows what to do to get that character over. And I can't wait to see him again and wrestle with him again.
Nice. All right. How about we'll go to a little like the Bell Time Club. You familiar with some of those guys?
Bose?
Yeah, Rotten Adam Applegate. Man, is he a
am
rotten dude?
I am completely unfamiliar with that
Okay, all right.
person.
That's not a problem. See, I take
No
a
offense.
chance. No, I hear you.
No offense to that
Right.
performer.
How about we'll go with someone definitely familiar and someone that you definitely like. But let's get a little deeper into AJP. Like you said, he's been around wrestling since probably since he could walk.
Yeah,
right?
you can find footage of him literally as like an 8-year-old coming in and beating up adults and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, he's been recently doing stuff with
The unit.
the unit at Fight Life.
Yep.
And yeah, it's been great to see him get work there.
Yes.
It's been great to see him, you know, rise higher and higher up the card everywhere else he is working. And yeah, I mean, he's just getting good, and he's getting jacked too. He's getting putting meat on his bones.
Yeah. In my opinion, he's the next kid to really break out.
Yes, I hope.
You know,
I, hope
I
he
really
is.
do. All right. How about his dad? Because he's a nice guy. T Phoenix.
Yeah, so he's a person that many people are scared of because he puts off this kind of angry vibe
Right.
when he's running the shows.
Okay.
But he is a sweetheart, and he is, you know, he's just a wonderful person.
Family man.
Without him, there wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be doing this. I was a fan at an NCW show, and I bumped into him, and he told me about training. I was there with my friend, and he told us about the training class with JT Dunn, and we showed up, and then I became a
Nice.
wrestler. So without T Phoenix,
Right.
I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
I don't know T very well, but what I come across is a family man.
Yes.
He's definitely a family guy, and I'm huge on family. How about Elle Valentine?
Yeah, she's great. I love her gimmick so much, and to be honest, I'm jealous because her gimmick is like my real life personality.
Yeah.
Where she's like this new metal. Because I went to high school, you know, in the late '90s, 2000, early 2000s.
Right.
And you know, where it was Limp Bizkit, baggy pants,
Yeah.
and energy drinks, and she has that whole aesthetic going on with her gimmick, and I'm jealous that I didn't think of it first.
Nice.
And I love it.
And she's for the women. She's getting booked around too quite a
Yes. And she's a good wrestler. I
Yeah,
forgot to
she is a
mention
very
that.
good wrestler.
She's great.
Do you know Haley?
No,
Okay.
I'm familiar.
All right, Haley's. They're the love interest. That's all.
Oh.
Yeah. How about Osiris?
Osiris. So I saw Osiris as a fan before I began wrestling.
He's been wrestling a long time.
Yeah, he was one of the highlights of the NCW shows when I would go as a fan.
Right.
I think I've worked with him a little bit, but not in any capacity that I would like to. Like I just want to get that singles match with Osiris.
Yeah.
He's somebody that I've looked up to and watched the entire time I've been wrestling and before I was wrestling. And also Doc Ozone.
He was next.
Also,
he
Doc
was
Ozone
next.
is one of my homies. for
He's
life.
awesome.
I've traveled with Doc Ozone many times. I used to pick him up because he lives not too far from me and we go to shows together.
Yeah.
So Doc Ozone is a homie for life and I miss seeing him because I haven't been seeing him that much lately.
Okay. Let me talk about a couple of trainers, maybe. I'm not too sure. I'm sure you know them, but I don't know how much interaction you've had. Slick Wagner Brown at the Test of Strength.
Not too much. I did wrestle him at a show.
Did you
once.
really?
I wrestled him when I first started. It was a show that Chad Epic was running.
In Gloucester.
Yes.
It was in August because I was in the gathering in North Carolina, which I'm going to be again this year.
So it was me, Slick Wagner Brown, Bo Douglas, and
He was next.
and Channing Thomas.
Yeah.
Before he was Channing Thomas.
Right.
He was Timmy
Thunder.
or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was nervous. I was literally pooping my pants.
Right.
With being nervous because I was working these two trainers.
Yeah.
And
Big names in the area.
big names in the area. Like legends in the
Yeah,
area.
absolutely,
Legends in the
I
area.
agree.
And they didn't call anything.
Right.
I was like, okay, so what are we gonna do? And he's like,
They let you call.
So then we go in the ring and it's complete. I'm just frozen.
Right.
I didn't know what to do. Like I think I gave Slick a schoolboy one. that was the only thing I did in like the
Right.
whole match. I don't. But
Was that at a Fenway show?
no, it was Gloucester. It was like
Oh, that's-
it was
oh, yeah, we already said
outside
that.
under a tent.
Right.
I forgot the name of the promotion because Chad Epic has like 3 different
Yeah.
things that he calls
Right.
his promotions because he's a crazy carny.
Yes, he is. Actually, he's the most carny after Jeff Costa. Honestly, like out of everybody around now, you're right. I never even thought of that. But Chad is definitely carny.
Yes.
absolutely.
And I don't mean that as an insult
No, me either. Seriously.
because I love Chad Epic. And
Well, he's an asset at any show.
Yes,
I mean,
he is.
honestly, he could be the ring announcer. I don't know about refereeing anymore. You know what I mean? He
Mm-hmm.
would just using his foot to count, probably. You know, but I mean, a commentator, anything. He brings a lot to the table.
and he's a businessman. Like he has like toys that
Yep.
he's selling and all types of gimmicks he's selling and he
Hot sauce.
hot sauce.
Yeah.
And, I love his hot sauce.
It's
It is
good.
It is legitimately good.
It's freaking
I love
hot,
it.
man.
It is.
It's hot. My son makes hot sauce too.
I loved it. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, how about he's coming back around. I don't know, Richard Holiday.
Richard Holiday. Oh, I did wrestle him. I wrestled him at Live Prov.
Yep.
So at Live Prov was very focused on my gimmick of invisible moves and stuff.
Right.
So he focused on that aspect.
Yep.
And I remember he wanted me to make like these Stranger Things references. It was right when Stranger Things season 1 came out.
Okay.
And so it was very popular in like the zeitgeist social media to be referencing that. And he wanted me to do references to Eleven, the girl that had
Yeah.
powers like that.
Yes.
And I didn't understand the reference because I hadn't watched the show.
Right.
So I think I disappointed him a little bit, but the match was pretty good and the match was fun. And he performed all of the crazy, goofy, invisible stuff that I
Right.
do. And yeah, he was a cool guy and he was very nice to work with me and do that stuff.
Have you watched Stranger Things now yet? Have
Yes,
you,
yes.
Because I love
caught
that
up.
show, man.
Yeah, it's very good.
Now, the new one's coming out soon, right? I would imagine it's got to be. It's been like a year since it's been out.
Yeah.
Since it came out.
It should be, yeah. I believe so.
All right. Now I'm going to the next page. I skipped over a lot of people. I did. I'm not going to lie to you. How about LMK, Little Mean Kathleen?
I'm not exaggerating when I say this. She puts me to shame when it comes to being funny.
Right.
She is so naturally hilarious,
Yeah.
in addition to being a solid wrestler and
Yep.
worker. But every interaction I've ever had with her has been pleasant, and she's so funny and entertaining.
Yeah.
She's great. I saw some thing that Beyond was putting on where she is like in front of a green screen talking, and I was like, it was like everything that I would want to do with
Right.
wrestling, just like goofball
Yeah.
stuff. She's great.
My girlfriend's not a big wrestling fan, but she's been around shows when I do the concessions and stuff like that. And Little Mean Kathleen's one of her favorite workers.
Yeah.
Every time we do one, she goes, "Is Little Mean Kathleen going to be on the show?" It's her favorite.
And she's so naturally funny. It's just natural.
Yes, absolutely. How about Teddy Goods?
Teddy Goods, he's not really somebody I'm too familiar with. I have seen his work a lot. I've been on several shows with him and watched his work, and he's great. He really knows how to work the crowd. He really knows how to take something simple and make it very effective.
Right.
But yeah, he's somebody that I would like to work with eventually, yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I'm surprised he's still around here, to be honest with you. I mean, he's so good.
Yeah.
He really is. Do you have anything you want to plug? Take your time. So, it says only that time, but you got a few more.
There is a Proving Ground show this weekend, but I'm not booked on it because I have been suspended for beating up Dallas McCarthy.
But he probably deserved it.
He did deserve it. He was
Yeah.
a jerk to me. He disrespected me, didn't treat me right. So I had to beat him up and put him in a cravat and choke him.
Who just beat the crap out of Dennis? I mean,
Oh, the Hoods.
Dude, that was brutal. I was there.
Powerbomb on the apron.
Dude, seriously, that was brutal, man. I hadn't seen a beatdown like that in a long time.
Yeah.
Dick, thanks for coming on again, man. I appreciate it very much. Guys,
One more plug.
yes.
One more plug.
Good.
One more plug.
Yes.
Also, this month, July 30th, RWA Legacy at Providence Columbus Theater. Don't miss it.
You can check that out on IWA Wrestling on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Guys, we're out. Peace. Hi, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. Listen, I could use a little help to grow my YouTube channel. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe. That's most importantly, subscribe. Send me a direct message, and I'll give you a shout out here on the show. My YouTube channel is real simple. It's just my name, Leo Connors. Thanks in advance. Peace.